Hey, I'm Zach Barber, and by no means am I claiming to be a graphic designer. Have you ever thought that you had the perfect logo? Comment below. But in reality, it would have never connected with your customers. Here is what my original logo might have looked like in my customer's mind. Let me tell you, not ideal. Oh shit, they're everywhere. Thought it was going to be this dude with lawn barber in the middle for eyes and this beard that represented like the warrior spirit and some kind of army or military hat, patriotic hat. And it did not turn that way at all, which thankfully it didn't. Sometimes we have these great ideas floating around in our minds, but at the end of the day, it's all about our ideal customer and how they perceive it. In this video, we're going to dive into logo design. We're going to explore tips and tricks and sound advice from actual professionals, as well as referencing some books on the topic. Your logo is the visual representation of your brand identity, serving as a powerful tool to communicate your values, your mission, and your offerings to your audience. A well-designed logo can evoke emotions, build trust, and leave a lasting impression on your customers. It is the cornerstone of your brand's visual identity. Color plays a crucial role in logo design, influencing how people perceive your brand. Your choice of a color palette can speak volumes about your brand's personality and values. Have you ever noticed how different colors can make you feel different things? It's pretty fascinating. For example, warm colors like reds and oranges can evoke feelings of passion and energy, while cool colors like blues and greens can convey calmness and trustworthiness. Besides that, colors can also carry cultural associations. Like when I was in Korea, red often symbolized luck and prosperity. However, while in the army, red, especially on slides, signified danger and warning, often making leaders focus solely on that issue. So, what makes a great logo? It's all about simplicity, memorability, versatility, and timelessness. A simpler design is easy to recognize and remember, while versatility ensures that your logo looks great across various platforms and mediums. And of course, a timeless design, one that stands the test of time and remains relevant for years to come. Now let's dive into some practical tips and tricks for designing your logo. Start by researching the industry and your competitors to understand what the trends are and what sets you apart. Start by sketching out your ideas on a piece of paper. You can start with words, or pictures, or stick figures, whatever that is to you. Then start playing with fonts and colors. Oftentimes, less is more when it comes to design. Effective logo design goes beyond aesthetics. It's not just about throwing together some shapes and fonts. It's about composition, balance, and visual storytelling. There is a whole science behind it, hence the need for graphic design programs. In the simplest terms, composition is all about the different elements of a logo that comes together to create harmony. An effective balance is finding a logo that has the perfect form and function. Logos need not only to look great, but communicate your brand's identity. And lastly, visual storytelling. To tell stories behind your brand before a word is ever spoken. Let's talk about how I got my logo. So in the Army, we get assigned to a unit, and in these units, there's typically a logo that is that represents all the soldiers and all the families that are attached to it. And my buddy Edwards, which we were assigned in 101st together at Fort Campbell, we were called the Dragon Slayers. And it's basically this picture of this massive dragon, has Apaches in the background, and they're just blowing up a bunch of stuff. And he used his artistic ability and redesigned the logo at the time, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So fast forward 10-15 years, now I am able to influence the design of the logos because I'm the company first sergeant. And I asked him, I was like, hey, would you be willing to do one for the Clydesdales? Basically, we're these big Chinooks, these massive helicopters that fly around, pick up people, do air assaults, air movements, and expeditionary missions. And I said, hey, would you be willing to do my unit? And he said, of course. Two minds are always better than one. A few months later, or maybe it was a year or two later, I talked to him, and we were just bullshitting, and I was telling him about my 5-year plan. My 5-year plan basically was my roadmap to me transitioning out of the military. And basically I was explaining like, hey, 5 years out, I want to be able to have a logo, some uniforms made, and just have an idea of that. Then 4 years out, get small equipment. And then 3 years out, maybe some larger equipment, 2 years, a website, and so forth, up until I actually transition out of the military. This would allow me to have the greatest success in my transition, as well as not be overwhelmed with debt or overhead. Well, what do you want it to look like? Or what do you have any ideas? And send me what you have. I said, okay, business name, Lawn Barber, to represent 3 different aspects of who I am. 1, my military career. 2, my last name, which kind of plays on number 3, which is the occupation, which is lawn. So I thought all 3 of them were extremely important to me, and so it kind of already played out on what kind of colors or palette I was looking for, which military and landscape hand in hand. We got to blend into stuff. What it originally looked like versus what it actually is totally different. I didn't really have any concept of what a logo what actually goes on behind a logo. I just thought you'd throw some things together and there it is, voila. After I talked to him and I gave him my ideas of what I thought the logo should incorporate, he basically gave me some tips and tricks which I've shared in this video. I also reached out to my cousin, the graphic designer. I bounced ideas off of both of them to get to the final result. Eddie took the actual logo and designed it for me with some of my cousin's inputs.
Thank you for watching.